Welcome to ContenderCast, a global leadership and consumer industries entrepreneurship podcast centered on shining a light on bright ideas. And now, here's your host, Justin Hahnemann.
Thanks for listening, thanks for tuning in, thanks for downloading, thanks for subscribing and following. It's Justin Hahnemann in the ContenderCast. We're shining a light on bright ideas. I can't even wait to introduce you to my guest today. He's the founder and CEO of a company called Bliss Barz. I know. I mean, they even sound amazing. Just cool name. You're going to love meeting him. Pat Manning is on with us today. Pat, so great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, Justin. It's so great to be on.
I know, we're off and rolling. Dude, I can't even wait. I had fun checking you out, like learning about your company and your product and whatnot. And I got lots of questions, but how about this? Before we get to your brand, how about share a little about your background and where the idea for this company started?
Yeah, so it was super untraditional how it kind of started. It started back a couple years ago when I was in college, actually. And it can even go back even further, but it was really kind of in college. And then when COVID hit, my whole world was kind of turned upside down. So I was on the path to go to medical school, actually. I was taking, all my pre-meds, doing biopsychology as my major, and really, 100% in on that medical school trajectory. So COVID happened. My senior year of college got completely, flipped upside down. I had to go home, and I had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to kind of figure out, where do I really want to go in life? What do I really want to do? And I kind of started thinking back to, my past and the things that I've been doing, and realizing that, listen, like, I don't know if this is really the area that I want to go down of going to medical school. And I think I could impact potentially more people. So I decided to look towards myself and found that, I have a lot of food allergies and limitations, and it's been all around me since, I was kind of born with my mom being super aware of those things, a lot of my close friends. So we kind of started to go down that rabbit hole, and that's kind of how Bliss Barz kind of started to become, a thing.
Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, so you decide you're going to go and take this path. You hadn't worked in the industry before, right? So you didn't really know like how to put together any sort of bar or packaging and get it out. So where did you begin?
Right. So I had no experience. It was really just like, Googling a lot of things to figure it out. We started kind of just bench chopping in the kitchen at home, just throwing ingredients together. We actually went down the rabbit hole to try to find if there was an allergy-friendly bar, and there really wasn't. And that's kind of what focused us onto that space, just because we had a lot of friends. Like I said, myself had limitations to food, and that kind of caused us to go down that road. So we just started to bench top in the kitchen by throwing household ingredients together, nothing professional at all, and kind of just trying to use a little food processor. And then kind of grow from there. I finally found an ingredient company that was willing to work at a very small scale and send samples. And we kind of just started to, grow and scale from there. And that development took about a year and a half.
Wow. Amazing. So, the big idea around allergy-friendly protein bars, got it. Where did you settle on ingredients? Like what makes the bar unique and different?
So I think what makes us really unique and different is that we have, a higher amount of protein. So we're packing 16 grams of protein in a small bar that's got only 190 calories. That's, very different than anything else. And every other bar out there is a seed bar or like a rolled oat bar. So it's extremely different. So if someone's, on the go and they want to be able to grab a bar that's got higher protein, not a lot of sugars, and still has some good taste to it, they could grab, there was nothing before, but now they could, grab a Bliss bar instead of having a seed bar.
Got it. I love it. And so you start, you're playing with different ingredients and whatnot. When did it become real? Like, did you have to work with another company to make it into an actual bar that was saleable with packaging and whatnot? How did you solve for that?
Yeah, so we finally found a formula. We finally figured out ingredient companies that would give us some samples so we could actually, scale the bar instead of just using household ingredients. Right. And then we, the next big step was find a contract manufacturer that had, had the right certifications, that was free from all the allergens and stuff like that. And that was a totally another task in itself. We actually found a company first. It took a very long time to find them. They're really hard, and there's not a lot of them in the United States. So we found a company first. We were about to go with them, and then, it kind of fell through and we were back to square one. We really had nowhere to go. I thought we were going to launch about a month after that, and we were, probably pushed back another year actually. So then we, reached out to a bunch of people and finally found another place that we're working with today. And yeah, it was a big undertaking to try to find something like that. I had no idea. There's so many manufacturers out there and contract manufacturers, but not a lot that, are allergy friendly and free from the proper things.
Interesting. And then were you did you have to do any fundraising to begin with, or were you kind of bootstrapping it yourself? And then what does that look like from a model perspective?
Yeah, so we're currently and have been since the start just bootstrapping this company. So we're trying to take it, one step at a time to figure out and keep it as, to grow as fast as possible. And we've been gaining a lot of traction, but to also keep it as manageable as possible until we could get, some funding. So it's a lovely balance of trying to not go too fast, but also keep it scalable.
Right. I love it. Bliss Brownie 6-pack, Bliss Mint 6-pack. So you've got two kind of lines, I'll call it right now. How did you come up with those?
So we were going to do a brownie as our, first flavor, and then actually just run with one. And someone was like, no, you have to have a second. You need to have a second mint. So
right.
Great. And it's a great option to have, two different flavors so people could bounce back. And a lot of people love to buy, one of each. So it was actually really good to start with both.
I love that. And then as you so you're working with a partner to put it together, you finally have some packaging, you have a finished product. Did people like it? Did you get to sample it with different people? What was the feedback? Like, what did it look like early days?
Yeah, so we actually, going way back, we actually, I jumped in on these Facebook groups, Allergy-Friendly,
right.
vegan, gluten-free Facebook groups, just to kind of see if there was a need for it. And there was a big need for it. And then with those groups, we'd kind of do a lot of sampling and stuff. And the feedback has been very good. We've had some people call it a chocolate flourless cake.
Ooh,
others have
yum.
compared it to like the old version of a devil dog. I wasn't able to experience those before they kind of got really chemically, but yeah, that's what was one comparison. So the feedback has been good. It's a very unique and different tasting bar, but it's pretty cakey and it's not that same chewy kind of oily bar. But so far everyone's been loving it, especially people with, limitations to food.
Wow, I love that. So cool, and it's so exciting to, it's fun to have an idea and then then you're like good on how it tastes, and then it come together, and the packaging is awesome, by the way. How are you thinking about getting the product out to market right now? You're doing e-commerce, obviously, but how are you thinking about retail and whatnot?
Yeah, so we were selling on our website right now. We're actually launching on Amazon pretty soon, and we have a team that's going to come in and help us grow and scale that. And then retail, we've kind of just been going door to door to different retail stores and just kind of walk in and be like, here, this is what we have. Here's our sell sheet, and, let them try it and kind of, tell us what they want. So we haven't done too much with that, but we plan to really kind of kick that into gear and get rolling.
That's so good. Your early days, man. You're like right on the front edge of that. And then how important is brand awareness, and like, how are you driving trial and, getting people to check out your product?
So I feel like brand awareness is extremely important in today's kind of society. I think story is also really, really helpful. And we're trying to really push the story of the company, and also just reach out to a lot of, influencers that have food allergies and they're in a space. We've been very successful reaching out to a lot of them, and they've loved our product and they've been, helping out and posting about it. So building that affiliate program to kind of help build brand awareness is number one.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and you see that across the industry as a great way to build, people checking it out, right? Coming by the product. That's really, really cool. And as you're thinking about like what's next, do you add another flavor, or is it really focused on like retail growth and whatnot?
So we're going to add another flavor. I think we're working on a cookie dough right now.
Ooh, yum! Love that.
Yeah, it should be really good. Some people have been saying they don't really want a full chocolate, so we're going to go a little less chocolate, and then
right.
We're going to have 3 flavors skew, and then we're really going to push before we add anything else. I think
3 is a good number. If you start to talk about to retailers and they want to create shelf space, they want more than just 1, and 2 is okay. 3 is better. And you'll hear that, by the way, when you talk to some of the buyers. So cool. This is really exciting for you. I always love to ask our guests, and especially your early days, man, you're like front end, right? You've got product and now you're getting out to market with it, but you've had some time to learn a lot. You mentioned that when you first came out with the idea, it took over a year to get this thing together. So like, what would be 2 or 3 lessons learned you'd share with our audience, things that you've experienced, things that, in your early days of being an entrepreneur in the food space, you'd want others to know that maybe they don't know going into it?
So I think a big thing that I had to learn over the years was kind of really stay level through the whole process, because there's so many ups and downs. And also another thing I learned was that it takes a lot longer than expected. I mean, there was so many times where I was like, oh, it's going to be, next month or a couple weeks from now. And it, like we said, it took a year and a half to almost 2 years from when we kind of started to right now. So really I feel like staying level through the whole process and not having, your emotions kind of take control of you has been something I really learned. And then also just accepting the fact that it's going to take a little bit longer, but if you have something good, it's really worth it.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally. It always takes longer. I always like to highlight that for people. It's like, it didn't just come together and like we came up with this recipe today and next week we were off like creating a product. It takes time, man, especially when you're breaking into a segment that's really booming and growing. This is a great space to be in. Share with our audience where they can connect with you, meet you, buy product, etc.
So you guys could go to blissbarz.com if you want to learn more about our products, buy from us. On Amazon, we're going to be optimized a little bit better soon, but our website for sure. And then, social media, we're at Bliss Barz, Facebook and Instagram.
I love it, man. So great having you here, Pat. Excited for where you are and where you're going. You got to come back on as you launch kind of the next product and as you build momentum in retail. But it's been really great having you with us, and thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
The ContenderCast is sponsored by Henderson Shapiro Peck and powered by Contender Brands. You can download additional ContenderCast episodes directly via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartMedia, YouTube, and other preferred podcast platforms. If you would like to be a guest on the ContenderCast, connect with us at contendercast.com. This is Brian Benson reminding you that every winner started as a contender.